Hi, I'm Mike Rooney. Today's free art lesson is going to be on painting glass. I get a lot of emails and people say, Mike, how are you capturing glass? And it's really simple if you follow a couple procedures. And one of them is to think of the glass as just having edges instead of trying to think of it as what it is. Just think of it as edges and only paint the shapes that you see. So this may be a two-part. So look at this part and then check out the next free art lesson. Will be part 2. What I'm going to do is block it in real quick and then we'll finish it out on part 2. Let's go ahead and begin. What I'm going to do is lightly draw it in washes of magenta and try to figure out what the major masses are and get the shape drawn on there. So what I'm going to do is, let's move this over just a little so I can get that shadow. There we go. All right, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to go with a high horizon on this one. In other words, the glass is going to be very close to the top. And I never put it right in the middle, and I'm just going to draw the shape of it right here. And just draw in that square. Then I'm going to draw in where the cloth ends in the back and where the line is for the water. And the shadow is running right off the base of the cloth, and then there's a nice round edge right here, and then let's see, I'm not going to see any of that, so I'm just going to paint a little fold right here. Okay, so there's basic composition. Got a nice high line. I've got the jar here, and I'm squinting, and that's the key to painting, is always squint so that you can see the big major masses. And all I'm doing is drawing in the shape of the jar. And I'm trying to forget it's a jar. I'm not concerned that it's a jar full of water. So there's the composition. Now I take the magenta and I'm going to start washing in the dark parts. So I see that this is a dark line across here, here, down the bottom, a little across the top. There's a nice little dark shape right there. A very thin line. And this kind of goes like that and down. Then there's a nice medium line across the bottom. And of course the shadow in the back. Now this is a little bit deeper. I guess it's picking up the reflection of the side right there. So I'm going to paint that in. And there's a little curve right there. Now I take my other brush in and I squint and I say, oh, okay. This is really dark. This is the second dark. So I'm going to go in there, make a nice light wash of magenta, and I'm going to put that down here. What I'm going to do is I'm going to cut this panel out when I'm finished with it. So I'm painting on a panel a little bit bigger, and I'm going to cut it down when I'm finished. Okay, so if that's going to be my medium, then I need to go ahead and darken these darks, and that's what I do. I usually add a little bit of cobalt violet to my mixture and kind of darken it where I see really dark darks is where I put my cobalt violet. So I see it go like that. And really just simplify the shapes. Don't think of it as glass. That's what gets you in trouble. When you start thinking of it as glass and you get really wound up about every shape, you start getting in trouble. So I squint. I've got this, I've got that. Then I've got a secondary light which is across the top. What I'm going to do is take Naples yellow and I'm going to put white in it, and I'm going to stroke that across here to denote that that's a nice warm light shape. And again, I'm just working really thin and just changing the colors up. I'm letting the values stay the same, but I'm just changing the colors up. So this is going to be a warm color, and then I'm going to have a cooler color, a little bit cooler. So I just take some yellow deep and put that in the back. I got to be sure I lighten that up too, but it's a little bit deeper, it's a little bit darker, and see how it changes. It's almost the same value, but it's a little bit darker. Then guess what you do? You go right inside here and you paint the same thing inside of here. Because guess what? Glass is see-through. If you're going to make it look like glass, you have to be able to see through it. So let's see. How's this look? This goes, the tabletop goes, I'm seeing the reflection dip down like so and goes all the way across. And this is going to be interesting when you see how this thing looks like glass when you get done. So you just go in there, swab all. I'm doing it really, really light. I'm doing it really, really thin so I can paint on top of it. Now, this is this color underneath. This is the tabletop running up into the glass. So I'm going to take white and Naples yellow. I'm going to lighten it up just a little bit and paint the inside shape of that. Now, I'm going to bring this a little bit closer so I've got something to paint on. And I'm going to make the shadow, it kind of looks blue to me, so I'm going to take blue and add a little bit of white and just a little bit of purple and make a shadow. So there's my shadow. All right, so now I've got all my, oh, and this here is the same as the tablecloth. So I'm going to take Naples yellow and white and make the fold that color. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to take Naples yellow and add a little bit of purple to it, which grays it. I'm going to paint that in there. Let's use the bigger brush for that. I always use the big brush, especially on these little panels like this. It's easy to go ahead and just whack it down on there. See, I can cover that a whole lot easier with a bigger brush, plus I can scrub it a little bit. And I get the color on there a whole lot quicker than if I was sitting there dibble-dabbling with it. Now you see why I painted the magenta so light? Okay, so I'll break that edge.